But this is something beyond sports. We're going to talk about sports here a little more, but this is something that's the monster of cancel culture, where the concept of a mass turning one's back on a behavior or a person that skirted the legal system in some way and did not pay for their crimes or their actions. This is tantamount to the abuse of this thing, where an actor, where someone doesn't agree with their position on something, they become fair game. There's a committee. There's an informal committee in society that apparently decides what everybody else should be offended for.
They actually...
And takes action.
I earlier in our discussion, I made the comment I just said the second gentleman. And there was a situation in Washington, and I was watching television, and the second gentleman was making a statement. Excuse me. So I'm like, okay, I'm not really familiar with this cat, and I realized that the second gentleman is Kamala Harris's husband.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I'm not putting this together. But they're talking about actually having some anti-Semitic dialogue across the aisle, and that this needs to be, this situation we've got with this Semitism just going through the roof is got to be nipped, and I think that I and this is, I'm going to sound like probably I'm mental here, but I don't get it. I don't get why, and I understand that the Jews have been hated since man's walked this planet. But I just don't get it. I don't get, okay, they have a different religious belief than I do, and they don't believe that Christ has come. But besides that, I don't understand where the hatred comes.
We're in a time now, if you're different, you're disliked.
Yeah, but so you're a white supremacist. Okay, so that means that anything that's not, if you're not white, if you're not Aryan, then how about just being a supremacist? How about just thinking you're superior to everybody because that's just the way you feel, and it has nothing to do with race, color, creed, beliefs. How about I'm just I guarantee you Elon Musk is a cat that's just a supremacist. He just thinks he's superior, which I'm cool with, because you're the richest dude on earth, so you're obviously doing some shit better than I'm doing, because I'm not trying to be broke. So, but I don't see it. I don't see how somebody walks down the street and sees a black human being and thinks, they are able to judge that human on just the premise of what they see and what their brain, brings in, because that, people always say to me, so you have no problem when it comes out. I'm like, let me tell you something. I've had black friends my whole life, and I've had white friends my whole life. I've had Oriental friends. I've had everything. I've been blessed to have a very multicultural, diverse group of friends. I have never, ever been fucked over by one of my black friends, ever. And I cannot say that for the fucking white boys. So I don't know. Maybe and that's real life. That's 63 fucking years, So
But because it's conditioning, and that's an answer to your question before about the
It's
walking down the street.
ignorance.
Why does
Yeah, that
someone
it's
right?
yeah,
What has
it's
happened in that person's life to condition them to that belief? Was it stuff they heard in
it's
the home? Was it personal experiences? Was it?
it's yeah. But you know what, man? I've came across a lot of people in my life that are prejudiced, and you just if I really want to. If I see that there's some good in them and they're just misdirected, I'll actually spend some time to see if I can't get them to realize like you just had really fucking bad parents. You know, like that's your problem is, you know, your parents were garbage. But, you know, if I can't touch them, then I can't be friends with it. I can't be friends with somebody that's, you know, going to pull up at a gas station and because we're the only white people, we're not getting out of the car. Like, no, we got to go someplace else. I'm
Yeah.
not going. I'm not going. I mean, I don't live my life that way. You know,
Yeah.
it's just I'm not doing it. So if you're that person, you can't be with me. That's why Scott was my dog.
Mm-hmm.
Scott was the same way. You
Yeah.
know, I mean, I just
But that's a very obvious and cut and dry thing. Racism or sexism or any xenophobia. That's very cut and dry.